I don't know if it's the case in Thailand, Freedom Fries Land, or the land down under, but back here in the land of croissant, my literature teachers often talked about neologisms and portmanteau words, which are words created by an author when they forgot what something is called. That's the thing, my teachers love to praise when dusty old books did that, but somehow didn't when I did exactly the same thing. Literally 1984. But what if I told you there's a large niche community of linguistics enthusiasts who go as far as to not only create a ton of new words, but whole new languages at that? Doesn't that sound exciting? No? Well, too bad. You're stuck with me now. So buckle up,
because we're getting in one hell of a ride.
and by hell,
I mean it.
Conlang is short for
Constructed
language. And when I talk about the subject with fellow, definitely not cats in disguise, human beings, I'm often met with one of two reactions.
the first of which comes in the form of a question.
Why would anyone in their right mind do this? Well, there are a lot of Conlang genres, all of which come with their own quite transparent reasons. There are personal languages, meme/cursed languages, philosophical languages, heck, even art languages, can be found in extensive use by music bands like Magma with Kobayan, Sihiros with Hopelandic, or even Cocteau Twins if we stretch a little. And if you don't know any of these three bands, fix that. The other half of the time, though, people will react by saying, oh, it's just like this or that thing. And out of most examples I've heard, there are two genres of calling
That
come up every single time. Fictional languages like Klingon from Star Trek, or auxiliary languages, the latter of which are constructed lingua francas, which means they're designed to ease communication between peoples of diverging linguistic
backgrounds.
It does have some natural equivalents, mainly creoles and pigeons. Well, no, not pigeons. Pigeons. Terrible naming decision. Auxlangs, short for auxiliary languages, just in case, mainly act as intermediates between multiple languages, helping people get familiar with ones which might be quite distant from their own native tongues. That's why they're called auxiliary in the first place, and I'd probably ramble much less if I focus on this style of calling, so I'll be more able to cram this video below the 10-minute mark as expected. Now, when talking about these,
There is one big question we ought to answer.
do they even work? Well, to answer that, we need to have a look at how these abominations are built in the very first place, so we can see what eldritch horrors might patiently wait for us to descend into the depths of forbidden knowledge as we go along. And if you think I'm being over-dramatic, I am. First off, an auxlang needs a set of base languages, which serve both as influences and targets, and is hoped to promote a wider variety of languages. According to Luca Lampariello, whose name I probably butchered, learning multiple languages from the same family is easier than learning very disconnected ones. Because of this, auxlangs tend to base themselves on a very small set of related languages to ease their conception. Sweet home lullaby. However, since many conlangers tend to 1. Be monolingual anglophones, and 2. Have global scopes for their auxlang, needless to say there's a huge Eurocentrism problem, especially with Esperanto. This promotes European languages within their respective linguistic communities, which does include their past colonies, and yeah, it's neocolonialism running the party once again. On the other hand, if we used a large set of languages, familiarity will be greatly impeded, so you'd have to rely on regularity to make it easier for people to learn your auxlang. This, for example, is the case of Tokipona. And yes, I know this isn't exactly an auxlang, but it's often treated as one, so I get a pass. Oh, well, I lend myself a pass. It's my video, so I do what I want, sweetie. To compensate for its large inventory of base languages, Tokipona only uses 120 words and has basically no conjugation whatsoever. Though it does make it fully learnable in less than a week, it's obviously very limited for precise language. Okay, so
We're gonna need more data
about the learning side of things to decide whether to choose regularity or familiarity
as our main
priority. And guess what? We do have some. Kinda. Apparently, an auxlang similarity with a learner's native tongue improves their ability to learn said language, more so than uniformity. According to a study I found on Lingua, a website that archives many papers about conlangs. Of course, we still need to keep as much consistency as possible, but that does mean we need to know where to add irregularities. According to a study in Nature, frequently spoken words are less likely to change over time, so you'd want to keep the most common words as intelligible as possible. And then the rest can just evolve to more regular forms, just like in regular languages. I mean, it's pretty logical, since people will have an easier time understanding singed if you meant sung, than they would if I said bead instead of was. So yes, lacking of the grammar of less frequent words is actually approved by Nature. I mean, the peer-reviewed journal, not like Nature. Another hurdle stems from accommodation to deafness, dyslexia, blindness, etc. After all, auxlangs are often brought about with the hope of universal accessibility, but keeping a sense of familiarity while accounting for so many disabilities at once requires a lot of effort and creativity, as well as more thorough research than the quite simple recipe it could otherwise follow, requiring auxlangers to delve into topics that
Bafflingly.
little research actually tells anything useful about, such as for sign languages. Because of all this, speech impediments are often swept under the rug entirely. I truly hope that disability be taken more seriously among auxlangers in the future. I mean, it's 2022 and, well, to be frank, it's been getting more awareness over the past couple of years,
But it's definitely
still a work in progress. So, in conclusion, though they do have great
potential.
in helping promote and make other languages more accessible, maybe one day positioning themselves as essential intermediary steps or something, auxlangs right now tend to face many obstacles that are often very lazily dealt with, if at all. And yeah, I may sound very critical about it, which I am, don't get me wrong, but auxlangs are in constant evolution, and I hope that this video sheds some light on what we need to improve to save this collective garbage fire that we call auxlangs.
But for now, they're funnier to trash talk than anything else.
Seriously though, why the hell is vulgar even a thing? What kind of convoluted process do you need to go through to think it's a good idea to create a whole script based on Minecraft blocks for a global auxiliary